Hey, I'm Greg Stocks from Destination Collective, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking you through my Sony a7 III camera rig, what I like about it, talking you through its features, some of the accessories that I use. So stick with me and let's get straight into it. So before I dive into any of the accessories on this rig, let's talk about the rig parts. What we've got is, well, the Sony a7 III camera, of course, and then you've got the small rig camera cage. On top of that, I've got a black small rig camera handle, and I've also got a top handle, which clues in the name, it goes on top of the rig, and that is clamped onto a nano rail, I believe they're called. And essentially that is all the components apart from this accessory here. Not sure of the name itself, but don't worry, I'm going to link everything below for you in the description. But I love that part because it moves around and it's pretty flexible, and you can point it in any direction that you please. So the light, for example, or if you've got the microphone, you can just turn it 45 degrees however you want it. So that's a really good part as well. In case this is the first sort of camera rig that you're getting and it looks all a bit intimidating, overwhelming, I'm not the most sort of practical person with setting things up, but this was dead easy, guys. I got these parts in the post, and within literally a matter of 2 minutes, this was all set up. It's very, very straightforward. One thing to note is you might have to take your camera lens off first. So you put the camera body into the cage. You've then got a little screw at the bottom that you screw into the bottom of your camera, and then you just put your lens on. That's the camera rig done and dusted. You've got a nano rail which comes with a couple of screws. Tighten those in, and then you attach the top handle to that. You just tighten it. This small rig handle, again, super easy. So yeah, set up in a matter of minutes. Really impressed by just how easy that was. Now, I don't know about you, but chances are you've probably been watching lots of these camera rig videos trying to figure out the ideal setup that you want. And for me, there was never a complete setup from a particular creator that I wanted to follow their exact setup. I wanted something that was a bit more me, and by me, for example, I don't like the small rig wooden handle. I prefer this kind of professional, just black look to everything, and the wooden handle just looked like it didn't do the camera setup justice. It just looks a bit cheap. Now, if you like it, then absolutely fair enough. But yeah, I opted for the small rig handle here, and it's brilliant. It's got a really nice grip. I really, really love the look of it, and it feels great in the hand. All I will say is it does wiggle a tad. So when, for example, you're lifting the camera up, sometimes it can just wiggle and not feel completely firm. Obviously, I'm holding this zoom in my hand, but if you've got two hands on this, then I would say it is sturdy enough. So it's just something to bear in mind. I wanted something to up the performance of my filmmaking, but something to also give the impression of this real professionalism. And it's a shame really within the industry, but to impress a client, sometimes it's not about like your skills in general, it's about your camera setup. I did a job for a hotel before, and I turned up just with the camera body and all my lenses, and one of the staff there was like, oh, the people we've had in before have had these huge camera setups. I believe we improved their video quality, and it just goes to show it's more about the person behind the camera. And also these little cameras, you know, there's lots of technology involved and they can do really great work, but sometimes it is just bulking your camera out a bit just to give that extra bit of professionalism to people who don't necessarily understand camera quality. So it definitely gives that impression, and I love it for that. Now, I shot a music festival last week with Eva actually, and it was my first proper go with using this rig, and I just noticed that the cage and these handles added this extra weight to the camera, and this extra weight just gives this really nice smooth motion to your panning and tilting shots. Generally, if I'm going handheld, you'll notice like a bit of rolling shutter, and the a7 III is kind of known for that. But with that extra weight, the shots just look a bit more high quality in my opinion, and everything just seems a bit more sturdier. And I was really truly impressed by just how much of a difference that made. Another positive thing is the extra safety that you feel with this camera, because when I was moving around the venue, I was holding the camera by the top handle when I wasn't filming. I was just walking around, and you know, it's proper sturdy. I feel like I wasn't going to drop it. You have to make sure that screw is tightened as tight as it goes. You know, one thing you can do is have a strap around your camera without the camera rig, and you can like wrap it around your wrist or have it around your neck, and your camera's not going to fall. But the strap, I find, just gets a bit irritating, and so taking that strap off and just walking around holding the camera by the top handle, it really feels like that camera is not going to fall on the floor, and it's just another way of holding your camera. And you do have much more space around this small rig where you can buy more of these nano rails and attach those to the sides, which of course means you can then add other accessories to those rails. So you really can get creative with how you want your setup. Now, I believe I've got a shot from the music festival, and it just shows me filming with my ideal camera rig. And you know, I'm constantly adapting it to the situation, but I was filming Vox Pops. And if you don't know what Vox Pops is, it's essentially when you go around and you're filming sort of random members of the public, and you might have a presenter with you, and they're just asked a few questions on something. So I had a monopod. This was sat on top of the monopod, and then I had my light actually on the top of this top handle where my Rode Mic Pro is, and then I had this zoom attached to the top of my small rig handle. And for me, it's great. Obviously, this camera doesn't have XLR inputs, so this zoom, which I purchased a couple of months ago, has been such a game changer for me as a videographer. So that was great that, you know, if you don't have a cinema camera, this zoom is the next best thing for recording your audio. So yeah, highly recommend that. One of the main reasons I wanted to get a camera rig was so that I could attach this zoom to it, because otherwise filming and just trying to hold this or have it in your pocket is just not ideal. So that has been an absolute game changer for me. Now, this for me is such a downside of the Sony a7 III, but the HDMI port, the sort of mini HDMI port just there, it's not particularly strong and stable enough for the cables that go in there. For example, literally as I was about to hit record on this video and I picked this camera up, the cable just completely snapped. So that got stuck in the camera, and then that just fell out. Now, this isn't the best monitor in the world. It's one of these newer monitors. Kind of budget friendly. It is something that I've wanted to upgrade. It's on my list, but that is really a not necessarily a con of the rig, but a con of the camera. You know, I've not used this monitor and cable for that long, in all honesty, and the fact that that has snapped, it's really not great. But yeah, nothing to do with the rig itself, just something to bear in mind for you Sony a7 III users, that when you're buying a monitor and you're using that cable, don't expect the cable to last long. So I'm going to have to buy myself another cable, but it's really got me questioning, do I want a monitor at all with this camera rig? I would also list cost as a positive. It's not the cheapest thing in the world. It is going to cost you a couple of £100 all in all. However, for the sake of a couple of £100, it's really worth the extra value that adds. And I was proper blown away by just how much it improved the rolling shutter on my shots. So for the £200 and seeing that difference in my shots, straight away it had earned its money back, in my opinion. Something else that you can see that I've added is I add my lens hood on top of my lens, and it's kind of half and half. Again, it just makes things look bigger and more impressive, but the other half is safety. I'm a bit paranoid about my lenses. You know, my lenses cost more than the camera body, and for whatever reason I might end up dropping the camera, or it gets knocked, or something's thrown across the room, that lens hood just adds that extra bit of protection to that camera lens. So that's why, in case you're wondering, I keep those on there too. Something that I really liked with the small rig is this little accessory came with it. and that's perfect for just tightening up your base plates. You don't have to rely on a coin anymore, so keep that safe. But yeah, I absolutely love the look. I love the functionality. I love how solid it feels. I love how it's improved the quality of my shooting abilities. And unfortunately, as vain as it sounds, I'm happy that it's a bit more impressive on the eye. This isn't something that I have just bought recently, guys. I have accumulated video gear from the age of 18, really. You know, you start off with a camera, get your lens, then you might get a top light, then you might get a Rode Mic Pro, then you might get tripod, gimbal, audio gear. You know, it's a constant evolution of camera gear, and unfortunately it can get expensive, but just purchase these things when you're ready and have fun with it. For me, just having the rig itself has brought a bit more passion into my videography, because it's something new, it's something exciting. Now, something you might be wondering is, what is it like filming with a handle, with a side handle? Is that something that I can get used to easily filming? Well, I'll tell you what, within about 5 minutes of filming, holding a side handle and holding the other side of my camera, sort of hand underneath the camera, I was completely distracted with what I was filming and wasn't even thinking about how I was holding the camera. It was so easy, felt so good in my hands, so you don't have to worry about that. It feels completely natural. It might take you a bit of getting used to, but nothing to worry about there. But I hope this overview has given you an insight to how you can get creative with your Sony a7 III camera rig. If you're thinking, oh, should I get a camera rig? Is it going to be worth it? 100% yes, you should get it, because I was that person asking all these questions over the last year. Should I get one? Oh, I don't know. It's more money to spend on top of everything else I have to pay out for. But it has hands down been worth it. I've absolutely loved having it. Such a shame about the monitor situation and the HDMI cable. I'm sure in the future I'm going to update to a more new version of the Sony, so hopefully that has been sorted in the newer products, and then that would solve that monitor situation. But yeah, I've been Greg from Destination Collective. Hope you found that helpful. Please consider subscribing. I'd love to have you join us on our videography and photography journey. Many thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.